Good morning. I'm Donald Lovett, Chairman of the Liberty County Board of Commissioners. On behalf of the Board of Commissioners, I want to commend this community for working with the county and the municipalities in our efforts to keep our respective governments functional and our employees and our citizens safe. All indications are that we are observing highly improved levels of compliance to the CDC and the governor's requests to social distance, shelter in place, and to practice good hand washing and sanitizing. As the Bible says, be not weary in well-doing. We must keep this up. To those who have suffered storm damage to their properties in our coastal area, our thoughts, our prayers, our care and concerns are with you. A more detailed response will follow in the very near future. As we watch the news from the Low Country area, we're grateful that there have been no injuries reported or loss of life in Liberty County. Please be safe in the cleanup activities. I repeat, please be safe in the cleanup activities. We're all in this together, as indicated by the presence of several representatives from the various levels of government with me this morning, to include Mayor Allen Brown, our County Administrator, Mr. Joey Brown, and our Senate of Hinesville Administrator, Mr. Kenny Howard. We come together as a united front to do our best to serve you, the citizens of Liberty County. At this time, we will hear from Mayor Brown.
Thank you, Chairman Lovett. Good morning to all the citizens of Hinesville and Liberty County. We're basically at the 4-week mark of this new normal, and I want to thank all of you who are doing your part to help us slow down the spread and flatten the curve. Most of you have by now heard that the governor has extended his public health emergency declaration to May 13th, and his shelter-in-place order has been extended through April 30th. I know that his order contains a lot of legalese and may be difficult to navigate for people like me, but I would like to remind the public of a few mandates issued by the order. First, please remember that just because businesses are open due to being essential or operating in accordance with the governor's orders, you do not need to physically visit most of these stores. Many are offering curbside and delivery options in place to protect both the staff and you. I urge you to remember that those essential workers are our friends, our neighbors, and our families. We need to look out for them as much as we look out for ourselves. Secondly, if you must set foot inside a business, which I know is sometimes the only option, please adhere to that same line of thinking. Please don't make it a family outing. Distance yourself from others as much as possible. Wear a mask if you can, and wash your hands upon entering and exiting. It may seem silly or make us feel foolish to do some of this, but just because we don't feel sick or a person doesn't look sick doesn't mean that they don't carry the virus, and they could be asymptomatic or pre-symptomatic. Let's protect each other, Hinesville and Liberty County, and let's demonstrate the care for our community that has done so much good over all these years that we're known for. Finally, I know that some of us who are very outgoing, I won't mention like me, might be having a hard time staying away from friends, family, and other folks. Humans are social creatures by nature, and we like to be around others. The virus has taken that nature and turned it on its head. However, until the governor and his team have deemed it safe, we must enforce the rule of social distancing in a way that applies not only to our public lives, but our personal lives as well. It's spring, weather's warming up, which means we're normally thinking about our cookouts, our beach trips, picnics, reunions, and other gatherings. But let's don't do that yet. We have to wait, and that's okay, because those things will be here when this is over. Until then, enjoy the time at home with your immediate family. If you have relatives that live alone, make sure you contact them frequently, either on the phone or online. It's kind of like phone a friend. There used to be a show where we did that. Keep in touch with the people you would spend the most time with, and make all those plans for when it's over, because it will be over soon. I encourage everyone to follow the city and county on social media and familiarize yourself with the links to other reputable agencies found on each of the websites. Remember, stay apart so we can come back together again. Or as some of my Bulldog buddies may say, hunker down. Thanks for being great citizens that you are in this community, and it's what we're famous for. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Kenneth Howard. I'm the city manager for the city of Hinesville. And the city of Hinesville is still providing services, although our services are done remotely. You could pay your water bills still by dropping your payments in the Dropbox or going online and making your payments like that as well. Just want to reiterate something that the mayor said, and that is we need to be mindful of the fact that this virus is spread by coming in contact with one another. And we need to make sure that we're vigilant in terms of staying apart. One of the things that I realize is that our police department is continuing to break up gatherings. We're still having gatherings in our neighborhoods. That is something that we must stop immediately, because as the mayor said, you can be asymptomatic, not knowing that you have the virus, and spreading it when you come together like that. And so we're trying to avoid that. And we're going to ask you, please, sir, please, ma'am, let's not come together at this point in time. I noticed personally there were several recordings or posting on Facebook of family coming together and others in the community for an Easter event. They had bouncy house, they had slides, they had a lot of games, and they were acting as if it was Sunday and it's a normal environment. This is not normal. Citizens, please be mindful of the fact that we cannot be that naive of this virus. This virus is very dangerous. And I just want to share some numbers with you. Although Liberty County, we don't have high numbers, but just from last week to now, we've increased our cases by 58%. For example, last week this time we had 12 cases in Liberty County. Today we have 21 cases. And so we can't become complacent at this point in time. Please let us be mindful that we need to protect each other and protect this community as a whole. So thank you, and let's be very careful and mindful of the fact that we're all in this together. We need to protect one another. Thank you.
Thanks, Kenny. I'm Joey Brown, the County Administrator. Just want to follow up a little bit. Dr. Davis this morning, Lawton Davis, the head of DPH for the coastal region, spoke to us and talked about a few things. And I think one thing that's alarming to me, and it's probably no secret, is we still are in the acceleration phase of the disease in our area. So there is no timetable that Dr. Davis gave as far as a peak time. As he pointed out, the virus would decide that at its own time. But I think in following up on what Kenny said, the comments there is that it is still growing here. The number of tests now are more available here, and I want to talk a second about those. But as those tests become available, obviously we know that more tests will be positive probably for the virus. Department of Health has changed the criteria based on some governor's directions that they gave yesterday related to screenings. Previously, you might mention that you needed to contact your primary health care provider. They would do basically an over-the-phone assessment and then to decide whether you needed to be referred for testing to one of the sites. That is still the case. If you do have a primary health care provider, you're urged to call them. However, if the primary health care provider does not have access to a testing site, or if you don't have a primary care provider, you can contact the health department directly. That number that you would call would be 912-876-2173. Again, that's 912-876-2173. That number should be used if you are exhibiting symptoms, respiratory illness type symptoms, fever, shortness of breath. That's the time then that you would contact either your primary health provider or the health department directly. So that has changed. There are still 2 sites that are available for DPH. One is in Savannah, one is in Brunswick. I think we mentioned that last week. So after you're screened by either the health department or your provider, then you would probably be referred to one of those sites or another location. depending on who you talk to. We were reminded that it is best to wear masks in public places where social distancing cannot be guaranteed, like grocery stores and like pharmacies. And did also stress that still learning about the virus today. So not sure about people's ability to build up antibodies and things like that to the virus or immunities to it at this point. It's still a very scary thing. On the administrative side, just want to mention our buildings are still closed to public traffic. However, like Kenny mentioned with the city, we are still doing business. So there are numbers posted on our buildings that you may call. You may find those numbers also on our website, on our Facebook page, and we'll get you the service that you need. So I appreciate that very much, and I'll turn it back over to the chairman.
Thank you, Mayor Brown, City Manager Kenny Howard, and City Administrator Jerry Brown for your comments and for your support. We just reminding we all in this together, and we'll weather this storm. So we appreciate the citizens' cooperation thus far, and as Kenny said, we ask for you to be compliant, be compliant. And as the mayor said, let's stay apart now so we can be together later. So we look forward to that day. We'll do our best to keep you updated as new developments occur. Thank you so much for chiming in. Have a great day.